You're listening to the Hustled Up Podcast. I'm Laura Natoli.
And I'm Holly Silva, and we are best friends since birth turned multi-passionate entrepreneurs and co-owners of Chores and More, a successful service-based business where everybody is treated like a best friend.
Welcome to our show where tactical business education meets fun and real conversations about this wild journey called life.
Get ready to be inspired. Grab your headphones, turn up the volume, and let's hustle up.
What's up, Hustled Up fam? We are back for another episode of Hustled Up, and we are your hosts. My name is Laura.
And I'm Holly.
And we are back from vacation, baby. I wish that I could say we feel well rested, but honestly, we feel tired.
I'm so exhausted. What's going on?
I need a vacation from my vacation.
No,
to
seriously.
be honest, like that's how I feel.
Seriously, right? I need to just go somewhere and hibernate or like lay on a beach for a few days. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was very tiring, but we did miss a week of Hustled Up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. We were planning on recording while we were away. We were having too much fun. We were drinking pretty much every single day. It just wasn't. Work was not on the mind. I'm going to be honest with you. It was not on the forefront of my mind. But we're here. We're here. And we're here with a fantastic episode. Before I jump into the topic, though, I, of course, you know what's coming. I have to remind you to please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you are listening. Share this podcast with a friend, especially if you're loving it and finding it valuable. All right, let's dive right into it because, as promised, we have an amazing guest on today. She is incredible. I think you're in for a real treat. We had the pleasure of speaking with Gillian Hopkins. She is the owner of Cedar Sage Cleaning Co., and she shares a really incredible story with us about her really hard upbringing and how she started a growing and thriving cleaning business. And she is only 20 years old, guys. And if you're listening and not watching, you're going to be like, wait a minute, there's no way that she's 20. Because she is just so wise beyond her years. And we had an incredible conversation. I mean, really, anytime that we get to talk with another cleaning business owner, the questions just start flowing. And I feel like I could talk to cleaning business owners for days. So I am so excited for her to share her story with you. It is such a story of inspiration, and I just can't wait. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Are you tired of spending your entire weekend cleaning when you could be going out to brunch with your girls?
First of all, I love brunch. And second of all, yes, there are so many things I could be doing instead of cleaning my house on the weekend.
Oh yeah, like playing video games.
Or watching a movie with the kids.
Going on a date with your significant other.
Taking your dog to the dog park.
Going to the movies.
Solving world hunger.
Yes! Exactly. So this is why it is such a good idea to call up Chores and More for your deep and recurring cleaning needs.
And do you want to know something really, really cool?
What?
If anybody mentions Hustled Up when they call to book, they can receive up to $100 off their deep cleaning.
Up to $100 off. What are you doing still sitting there? Pick up the phone now, mention our podcast, and never have to spend your weekends cleaning again.
Simply go to choresandmorellc.com. You can fill out our request quote form there, or give us a call, send us a text, 631-397-0177. It is time to get back to doing the things you love. Let us take care of the cleaning.
Okay, we are back with Gillian Hopkins, and we are so excited to chat with her because what I think is just incredible, Gillian, is the fact that you are only 20 years old and you have your own cleaning business.
Thank you.
That is just astounding to me. So Gillian Hopkins owns Cedar Sage Cleaning Co. So I would love for you to just kind of introduce yourself to the listeners, tell them a little bit about yourself and how and why you started your cleaning business, because it's such an interesting industry that,
right.
You know, Holly and I have our own story. I love to hear why people started and why people chose cleaning. So if you could just introduce yourself.
Right. Well, obviously my name is Gillian, and my business is Cedar Sage, and the backstory is kind of funny. I mean, I feel like everybody has these inspirational backstories on why they started a cleaning business. business, and mine is simply because I bought a Kirby Vacuum and needed to pay it off. So we moved into we moved into like a newly developed neighborhood, and we have a lot of door-to-door salesmen, and we just bought a house, and me and my husband are obviously very young and very impressionable, and my husband bought this Kirby Vacuum. And if you're familiar with the Kirby vacuums, then you know that they're extremely expensive, and they come with they're extremely heavy. They come with all these, the bells, the whistles, and all of that. And I was like, well, I have this $3,000 vacuum. I might as well do something with it. So I started my cleaning business. And funny thing is I don't even use it anymore because it's extremely heavy and just unrealistic. So yeah.
Wow.
That's the whole reason.
She warned us that it was a funny reason, and that's really funny. And how long ago was that? When did you start your business?
This was in August. So,
okay.
Yeah. I scaled really, really quickly, and I was not expecting that at all, and it's grown into like this huge thing. And so I gotta think the Kirby Vacuum it's made me a lot more money than I spent on it. So yeah.
That is so funny. I love that. And it's even more funny to me that you're like, yeah, and I no longer use that.
Not
it's
at
like
all.
once you scale, like simplify, the lighter the better.
Yes, for sure.
But that is so funny. And because I know obviously this wasn't the game plan for you, was being a business owner, cleaning business owner of any kind, something that you had ever thought about, or it just sparked from the vacuum purchase?
I did think about it briefly. I didn't ever think that it was going to be a business. When I had looked into it before, it was just kind of something that I was thinking about doing on the side. I'd always had like little entrepreneurial quests that I never really saw through, or that just didn't really succeed, even if I did kind of, see through with them. But I never really thought of cleaning as a business necessarily until I started scaling and was like, oh, this is actual business. This is not like some on the side thing.
In terms of your business, because I'm assuming it's just you cleaning right now. You don't have employees or anything like that?
I do. Yes.
You do? Oh, wow.
I would have to count, but off the top of my head, I definitely have, I think 5 or 6. So.
Wow.
Yes.
That's huge for just starting in August. I'm impressed.
Yeah. It's a lot of stress, as I'm sure you understand. So.
Yeah, definitely. Holly always says, I can't wait till we can hire employees because then everything's going to get so much easier. And we always say, once we hired employees, everything got a lot harder.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And what would you say is your goal with the cleaning business? Like, because I know this wasn't the game plan for you. Is this something that you're like, I found my passion, this is something that I want to do and I want to grow and I want to scale?
I definitely want to continue to grow. I definitely love it. This is my first location. I do have a second location in my hometown that isn't doing as well as the location here. So I definitely want to keep expanding there. And then my goal is to open locations at every duty station that me and my husband go to, because my husband's in the Army. So
Okay.
as I'm running this location here and then the one back home and just trying to figure out how to manage that, I want to continue to just build, and which is hard.
That's incredible. Yeah, no, it's definitely hard. And how do you go about managing it? Okay, let me ask you this. I have so many questions. Are you doing any of the cleaning itself right now, or are you just in the stage where you're managing your employees?
I'm still cleaning. I guess I wouldn't have to clean, but I'm trying to still perfect my skill a little bit so I can perfect their skill. And I do genuinely like cleaning. I've always loved cleaning. So it's kind of hard for me to take a step back. But on the other hand, I have an infant. Well, I guess she's not an infant anymore. She just turned 1, so she's a toddler. But I am feeling like I'm missing out on a lot of time with her, so I am trying to like kind of step back. So
I'm like a little jealous of how fast you've grown.
Like, don't be.
That's huge.
It's a lot of stress. I don't sleep much at night, so.
Oh,
It's a
I
lot.
understand that. Yeah.
Yeah.
El Paso can definitely be a hard place to have a cleaning business. It seems like everybody has a cleaning business in El Paso. If you know anything about El Paso, Texas, it's huge one, and it's right on the border. So cleaning tends to be common, and it can be hard to make a living out of here doing that. So
Yeah, it's definitely, you have to figure out what's going to make you stand out in that pool of people, you know? And especially when you're charging more, and then there comes its own
yeah.
set of issues there, but there are ways to definitely make sure that you're standing out and that people will choose you over the competition.
Yes, definitely.
And, we deal with that a lot here too, because we're quite we're in a melting pot like of a demographic here. So
Right.
there's just a lot of different people starting businesses. They're popping up all over. And for a while we were stressed, like, oh my gosh, like how are we going to compete with all these people? But you manage, you find the things that make you stand out and stuff, but it does get hard. And growth is tiring, as you know, and it's expensive. So I'm sure that it's been a bit of a struggle for you. Do you have people, since you're trying to open multiple locations, do you have any people helping you on the administrative side, or do you just have cleaners right now and you're kind of handling all the admin stuff on your own?
I do. I have a personal assistant. Her name is Gianna. Shout out to Gianna. She's amazing. And I do have a team lead who's Alicia, and I wish I had 4 Alicias. She's phenomenal. So I do have some help there. And then at my other location, it's a very small town. It's my whole family. My cleaners are my aunts and my mom's there. So that side's a little bit easier to manage than here. It just hasn't grown as much. 1, because it is smaller. It's significantly smaller. And 2, I don't think I put the same amount of energy over there. So,
Well, I would love to also, in addition to talking about the cleaning business, which I'm sure I'm going to have a million more questions for you in regards to that, because I love like talking nerdy, like with other cleaning business owners. But I would also love, because Gillian shared with us that she had a very interesting upbringing, actually. That you struggled with some poverty, some drug addiction. So for me, that's incredible that you got this wild backstory, but still managed to be married, have a child, and have your own business with multiple locations at just the age of 20. Like, I'm pretty sure when I was 20, I was like drunk in a bar somewhere. So I'm like pretty impressed with you at the moment. So I would love for you to just, if you're comfortable, share with our listeners what that journey was like and how you managed to go from that experience and be where you are today, or if you can give them any advice.
Yeah, of course. Like you said, at 20 something, you're probably drunk in a bar somewhere. I mean, I think that's true for a lot of people, but for me, that was me at a lot younger age. So I think that I kind of got all that out of my system, and it was kind of traumatic. So, as you can imagine, at a younger age. So I think that's why at 20, I was just so ready to be, let's get married, let's buy a house, let's have children, let's start a business, But yeah, no, I definitely came from interesting background. We did not have a lot of money. My parents struggled with their own struggles, and I won't go too deep into their issues because obviously that's their business and their story to tell. But they definitely had their own issues, and me and my mom didn't have the greatest relationship. So I did move out when I was 14.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of where it snowballed. And I lived with my grandparents pretty briefly. Now that I'm thinking about it, like in the timeline of things, it felt like forever. But I moved out of their house when I was 15 and was just kind of on my own from there. And I got married as a teenager to someone else. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I told you there's a lot to unpack. But yeah, I got married to another soldier in the Army who I had gone to high school with, and we'd kind of had a relationship with at a young age with. And that did not work out, but it took me to Clarksville, Tennessee, where I met my now husband. And after me and my previous husband separated, I was very young. Obviously, I was in another state by myself, and I got involved with the wrong people. I ended up doing some very hard drugs, and I did get sex trafficked. And I made it out of that situation with luck, with God, with the help of my husband now, I guess, just whatever the reason may be. And I think that those situations and, the trauma from my childhood, and especially the trauma from that, just really shaped me into be a very motivated and very ambitious person. And I knew that I wanted to do something better and something bigger with my life, especially when I had my daughter. It just became very real to me that I had to do better, and make something, because if, all that happened and I didn't do anything with it, then that happened to me for no reason, so. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing such a vulnerable story with us
Yeah.
and with our listeners, because I can't even imagine what that must have been like for you. And it's very clear, even just with speaking with you, that your experiences have made you have to grow up really, really fast. And I'm sure anything that you learned with that is also what's going to make you an incredible leader in your business, for your employees, for your assistant. So I think it's really an incredible testament to you that you're able to take those horrible experiences and use them. And instead of, I don't want to say using it as a crutch, but instead of, being a victim, you're like, I went through this. I'm going to use
Yeah.
this experience to grow and become the person I am today, which is incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
definitely an inspiring story to a lot of people who have been down and out, and they feel, I'm sure you felt this too, that there was no way out.
Yeah.
And, and I think it's funny that the cleaning business and this Kirby Vacuum kind of just fell into your lap, but
Yeah.
it just goes to show that, like, there's always opportunities, like, right around the corner, and that you always have to be looking for them, be willing to say yes. And
Yes.
even when you have been through some serious shit, and I think that that's super inspiring, because, like Laura said, some people choose to be a victim of their circumstances, and there's no doubt that you were truly a victim of some pretty terrible things, but you've chosen to instead create a very triumphant story, and now you are doing things that, like we said, a lot of 20-year-olds are not even, it's not even in their wheelhouse. Like, it wasn't
Right.
even in my thought process to be doing at 20. So that is super, super cool. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I also don't think it was a mistake, to be honest, because something you said kind of hit me, where you said, I've overcame it with the help of my husband, with the help of God. And I don't really think anything in this life happens to us by accident.
I don't
I
either.
think that God sets things into motion to be. So I think that gentleman showing up with the Kirby Vacuum, I don't think that was random. I think
Right.
that there's a good chance that the universe, God, whatever you want to believe in, sent that salesman to you and put the idea in your head and the thought in your heart to start a business, which then, the thing I love about being a business owner, which I'm sure you both feel this, is it's not just affecting your life.
No.
By being a business owner, you're affecting your client's life. You're putting food on the table for all of your employees. And it just has a ripple effect of goodness that you're putting out into the world. So I'm sure you feel that.
Oh, yes, definitely. I think that even with, like, the Kirby salesman, I think I tell everybody all the time, all the stuff that happened to me definitely made me a very empathetic person, and made me very loving. And I think, like, even when the Kirby salesman came, the reason I bought the vacuum, or agreed to buy the vacuum, is because he hadn't had a sale and I really wanted him to have commission. So that was, like, the main reason that the Kirby even came to be. And I definitely think that, like, my empathy helps a lot for me in terms of my cleans, and the way I treat people and my employees and things like that. So it was definitely for a reason.
Did the salesman tell you that he hadn't any sales? I'm just curious. I'm like, wait, how did you know
I
that?
could tell because his boss came, and she was, like, helping him, and it was just very obvious. And he did say it at the end after we already bought it, that it was, like, his first sell and his only commission. So, but I could kind of already tell that it was. So
Oh,
That's
I would have
cute.
done the same thing. Gosh, I'm such a sucker.
he was really nice.
Yeah. Being an empath, I feel like, is a superhero and a curse all at once.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
For
me and my
sure,
husband
for
were just
sure.
talking about the other day too, because we were playing this, like, intimacy couples card game, like, with conversation prompts, and it was like, "What do you think your superpower is?" And he was like, "Definitely your empathy," and I was like, "It's a curse." Like,
Yeah.
It's both. It's both. It's definitely both.
yeah.
When did you hire? So you started cleaning in August. When did
Yes.
you hire your first employee? Like, what was that experience like for you?
Actually, kind of off the bat, my first employee, I wouldn't necessarily say that she was an employee. She was someone that was stationed here with me. They ended up moving elsewhere only after, I think we only did 2 cleans together, but I had the idea, and I was like, hey, I know you said that you were looking for a job, like, why don't you do this with me? And we did our first 2 cleans together, and I actually was talking the other day, and I was like, I wish you could have been here to see this, because it's actually so incredible, what it's turned into, and so I hired pretty immediately. And then when she left, I had a lot of cleans and I was used to her having someone help me. And I was like, I can't do this. I need to hire like now. So, yeah. And I just
That's
kept having a need
awesome.
for more people.
And I know you had said that you now like you have your family working for you, and even you said your mom, right, is working for you now as well. So
Yeah.
is it like, I can't think of the word, but like, is it weird of me to say that your cleaning business may have mended the relationship with your mom a little bit?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was the cleaning business. It was definitely me having my daughter. Me and my mom's relationship. Not to go into too much detail because I love you, Mama. I know that she's listening. But we had a pretty rough relationship, a very rough relationship. And then I had my daughter, and my mom has just been my rock, like just my support, the most amazing grandmother. I mean, this lady's kind of annoying. She calls me 4 or 5 times a day. She watches my location. She knows as soon as I pull into my driveway, and she calls and she's like, I know you're home. Like, call me. I want to talk to my baby. Like, she's just so involved. So
There's really something about making someone a grandparent.
yeah,
just-
it's wild. It's like,
It's
you
crazy.
didn't even like me now. Like, but yeah, she's been
dead.
great.
That's so funny.
That's how it goes, though. That's how it goes. Once somebody turns into a grandparent, their entire like
Yeah.
character is just different. So I totally get it.
Yeah,
When
like, Mom, you're soft now.
that's how it goes. When I don't have any kids, but my brothers do. So when my parents became grandparents, forget it. Like, my dad's way more proud of his grandkids than he is of me, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he
I
shows
still
everybody
love him
pictures.
to death, but like, he's not showing people pictures of me anymore. Forget it. I always have to remind him. I'm like, listen, I am your number one forever, and the grandkids come second to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
my
all. He'll
mom
show random
loves
people
her
in the
grandparent
supermarket
role.
like, this is my grandparent, this is my grandkids. He's
Yeah.
so proud.
Aw.
That's cute. That's so cute. But that's awesome. And you're also, in addition to your mom, you said you hired your aunts and uncles. Was that right?
My aunt, yes. I love my
Your
aunt. I'm
aunt.
sure she'll listen too. And she's just been there from day one trying to get the second location started, and it's been slow. So she's been patient with me, and she's just been there and ready to do whatever I need, print flyers, make sure supplies are there. And yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And how is it working with family? Because Holly and I have also experienced working with family, and it can definitely be a blessing or a curse. So
Yeah.
what has that experience been like for you?
My experience has been good. I think if I worked with some of my other family, it probably wouldn't be. But my experience with this particular family is good. My Aunt Tossie's an amazing, empathetic soul. She's been through a lot of similar things that I have, so she's just absolutely amazing. And I could never even foresee anything ever going wrong with that. So
It's good to have people you know you can trust too. I feel like that's
Yes.
the best part about working with family. There's no, oh, are they going to backstab me? Are they going to do something that I can't trust? It's like, family's
Yeah.
got your back, or at least that's how it should be.
yeah.
So, pivoting a little bit, I would love to talk a little bit about what your future goals and plans are. Because, again, I feel like with cleaning businesses, for the most part, whenever I hear somebody's story, it kind of happens to you. Like, I
Yeah.
always say that with our business, Hall. Like, it happened to us. It was kind of a happy accident. So, now that it is here and it sounds like it grew a lot faster than you had anticipated. Is that fair to say?
Yes, for
Yeah.
sure. I had no idea that it was going to be what it was. And don't get me wrong, I'm so proud of it. But I do have a bit of like imposter syndrome sometimes. So it's kind of hard. It's just weird to see what it is.
Yeah. We talk about imposter syndrome a lot. Because
Yeah,
we
I always listen to
definitely-
those ones. I've replayed a couple.
Oh,
So, like, I need to
good.
hear this today.
Yeah, no, it's true. It doesn't matter how big your business grows. I feel like on some level, you're always going to have imposter syndrome to some degree. It just gets easier to overcome. But with that being said, and with the rapid growth of your business, what are your future goals? I know you said you're opening up another location. Like 5 years from now, what does your business look like, or where do you hope it lands?
Well, my next goal is definitely to get an office space. Right now, we're kind of operating out of my house and out of my garage, and granted, I do have the space for it, but I feel like I'd be a lot more productive if I had a place to go and do all that admin stuff. Because I feel like if you need your own house, things tend to slack a little bit. But I think yeah, 5 years from now, I definitely see a large office with lots of space for, to hold supplies there, space for meetings, several locations, um, 20 cleaners with 2 cleans a day each, and definitely myself being out of the picture, hopefully another child, and just living my best married, soft life, kept wife life, where I don't have to deal with so much stress. Because even now that I'm like delegating to my assistant, um, it does get very hard. A lot of things I don't delegate to her because I would rather just take on all the stress myself. It's really hard for me to trust somebody to handle all those things, even though I know that she's very capable. So I'm hoping 5 years from now that I'm finally able to sit back and relax and let everything run, on its own and very self-sufficient. So
That's a great goal. And I feel like I love that you actually said this, because a lot of people feel like they have to keep working, keep hustling, kind of give up that like soft part of that soft life that you said. And that's not the case for everybody.
Right.
Some people want to grow this business and they want to delegate out. And that's something I want to do that for the sake of being able to pursue other projects and do maybe some speaking engagements and stuff like that. And some people want to do it so that they can settle in with their family. Some people want to do it. Like, it's always different for everybody, and everybody's why is so different. And it's important to not compare that. Like, you don't have to want to, be the president or like something crazy. You know what I mean? Like, so it's perfectly okay to be like, I'm going to grow this business and then I'm not going to work in this business anymore. Yeah. And that's the end goal for, I think, a lot of people, but people don't say it, or it's just not talked about. But that's the beautiful thing, especially in, an industry like this where you can just keep growing it. And then as long as you have your systems in place and your operations and your procedures and everything, it becomes easier to just kind of hand it off to somebody else and say, here you go. But I don't know about you. Laura knows I struggle with this so hard. But, like, I am a control freak. So bad. So bad. So when it comes time for me to start handing off tasks, I get nervous because I'm like, nobody's going to do it as good as me, or they're not going to be able to handle it the way I can. And so I struggle to delegate tasks to the few people. We have 2 part-timers in the office with us, and so I'm wondering if you feel that too, like that little bit of like like I want to be in control of all this. I want my hands in all of everything.
Yeah, I definitely do. I think for me to be able to delegate and step back, I think it'll be a little bit easier because I kind of went into this knowing that that was my goal, and kind of from the beginning I set myself to be able to step back, because my thing was always, whenever we leave here, because this is not a permanent duty station for us, I want this to run self-sufficiently here and be able to keep that. But I definitely have a lot of anxiety when it comes to trusting people to do all the things that need done. And with delegating, at the beginning with hiring employees, we definitely had a lot of quality issues, and it did cause a lot of issues for me. So yes, I have tons of anxiety, and I think it's all about having those systems, like you said, foolproof systems, your checklists, and then just making sure you're hiring the right people. And I definitely feel like I have some really good people here now to help me. So I feel a little bit safer delegating things now.
That's smart that you went into it knowing that, because I feel like when Holly and I started, we didn't have plans to grow it, so I'd always just assumed that we would be cleaning forever. So I didn't even think about, how am I going to train somebody to take it over and clean the way I do? And I remember there was a point where Holly and I were like, we're never going to be able to pass off even initial cleanings. We can't pass it off. No one's going to do it like us. So the thought of even passing off the cleaning in the beginning is scary. So an office position or an assistant, that's a whole nother level of scary that I don't think people who aren't in business don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
passing off the
terrifying.
cleaning is still very hard for me. Because quality is everything, obviously, and so doing those quality checks and having those foolproof systems is just so important for me, especially.
Yeah, we've been revamping our training process for this reason because we have 9 techs now, and it's hard to keep up,
Yeah.
keep up with all of them, and they all work almost full time, if not full time. And after a while, we find that quality starts to slip too, and we keep thinking, how can we eradicate this issue or at least minimize it? And so, hopefully, with some like more thorough training processes and stuff, it'll be easier. But it was hard in the beginning, and we lost quite a few clients. There were a few clients that we just couldn't retain because they were so used to having us there. And it was hard, but now it's funny because we're at a point in the business where people kind of just know we're not the ones going to clean. Like, they just know that, like, we don't do that anymore. And so there will be a point where, like, they won't even expect it of you anymore. And you'll be able to kind of just say, like, oh, the cleaning expert, we call them cleaning experts. The cleaning expert will be there at this time or whatever. But it was hard for us in the beginning when it was time to delegate out those cleanings, too. And it was funny because we did think we were going to clean forever. And I remember if I look back at like my old journals from maybe like 4 or 3 years ago, it would say like, oh, only clean 2 days a week, only clean 3 days a week. Because like I didn't know that mop free, like I didn't know that term. And when I first learned that industry term, I was like, what the freak is this? This is fake. Like there's no such thing. And it took time to finally get there. And even now I went out to clean this morning actually, which I haven't cleaned since last year, and I'm like, oh, okay, I still got it though. That's good. But I don't know if I'll ever fully escape the mop, but I don't mind doing it every so often. But nobody expects it, so it's cool.
Yeah.
And if anything, now it's a little more like of a treat to myself when I get to go clean. I'm like,
sure.
oh, I get to go cuddle the dogs and the cats at the house, or and like get moving in, because now I'm sitting on my butt all day. It's been a bit of a struggle. That's a whole other conversation. So be prepared for that. I do have a question though.
Yeah, of
because
course.
you had this. It popped up in my head when you were speaking. So you and your husband move around a lot because you're constantly being stationed in other areas. Mm-hmm. So do you find that puts a little bit of a like time pressure on like getting the business to a certain point so that obviously you can run the business remote. That's the beautiful thing. Once you're mop free, you can run the business remote. But does that put a little bit of pressure on you to become mop free? Because if you move away, you're not going to be able to do those cleanings and get it to a certain point where maybe you have somebody there running operations from like an office standpoint. Do you find that you're like feeling a little bit of pressure from that, or do you feel that you have time and you're kind of just going with the flow?
Definitely. Yeah. I definitely feel a lot of pressure because I have no idea how long we'll be here. It could be a year. It could be 3 or 5. So, yes, there's definitely a lot of pressure to get things up and self-sufficient, especially because my assistant and the main person that helps me on all the admin stuff is also a military wife, and it is also up in the air. So at some point we'll have to find somebody that is permanently here, probably sooner rather than later, train them on everything, get this physical office going, because whenever we leave here, I'll be renting out my house to renters, and so obviously they can't be in and out of the garage getting supplies anymore. So there is definitely a lot of pressure there to get things done quickly. And I apologize because all I can hear is me like sniffing. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden sick, like now that we're on this call, but every 2 seconds I can like hear myself like sniffling. So if you hear that, I apologize.
It's okay.
It's all right.
We're just making you emotional. It's
Yeah. I hope I don't have a cold.
I'm dead. It's going around, man. Everyone in New York is sick.
Yeah, everyone up here is sick, so I don't know how it is. How's the weather there? But I have to ask. I love Texas.
It's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah,
Oh,
right
freaking
now it's
freezing
probably
up
like
here.
80-something degrees. So
What? I
Yeah.
can't even
Jealous.
imagine. Oh my gosh. I'm literally, she's in a coat. I'm in a sweater. We're
I know. I'm
bundled.
in like my winter coat, but
Yeah, no, it's.
I
I wish
love
you could see like the
Texas.
outside right now. Like it's sunny, dry, desert. There's no grass.
Oh
It's
wow.
jealous.
Oh, no grass though.
No, none.
I don't know if
Everybody
I
has
would like
turf.
the no grass.
I have turf in my front yard and barren dirt in my backyard. So
Oh.
What? That is
yeah,
so
we
neat.
have palm trees, cactuses. Yeah.
What?
Oh, I'm
I
so jealous.
I always tell Laura I want to get like a winter house down there that I can
Yeah.
go to when it gets cold here. You know, either there or Florida, but I love Laura
You love
knows
Texas.
I'm weirdly obsessed with Texas.
Really?
I went there for the first time in 2023 and I just every time I come back here I'm like I don't want to be here. I want to go back to Texas. Everybody's so
Yeah.
nice there,
It's cheaper
you
here
know,
too.
and yeah. It is. We went to Fort Worth and I just oh god, I love it there. It's like so
nice.
pretty and
Everyone's
just
so
everybody's
sweet.
everyone
I've
has
never
their cute.
actually
You don't
been to
have
Fort
a
Worth.
southern accent.
No,
Really?
which is funny, because I've been in Tennessee since I was a teenager. I was told that I do have like a little bit of an accent, but I'm actually originally from Idaho, so any accent that you hear, that's an Idahoan accent. So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it's definitely not the Texas accent that I
Oh,
hear,
no.
like that very southern accent. You don't have that, which is
They
funny.
actually here, they don't really have that like southern Texas accent. It's because we're so close to the border. It's very Hispanic here. I'm actually Hispanic myself. You just can't tell, but I don't have either accent. So
That's so funny.
yeah.
That's really cool though. And if you get restationed, like, could you potentially just go anywhere? Like, is it like a countrywide thing, or would it be like could you potentially be stationed internationally?
We could,
like in
yeah.
a different. Oh shoot!
Yeah, there's a
Oh my
chance.
gosh, I feel like I would
Notice.
just live with anxiety,
Yeah.
not knowing where I'm gonna go.
It could be within like 3 months' notice. It could be 9 months to a year. The odds of us going out of country are very low. If we did it, it'd be probably Germany. But I think the highest like odds of somewhere where we would go would be Georgia because there's so many bases in Georgia. So we'd probably end up back in the South, which I'm fine with.
Okay.
I miss the humidity. I
And
hate how
what
dry
would
it is
you-
here.
Do you? Oh,
yeah.
I feel like I would
I
love
would
it
love
there.
it. What would you do? So say, all right, 3 months from now, you just found out you're going to Georgia. What would your game plan be? Would you like tie up all your loose ends, keep the business running, and then when you get to Georgia, would your plan be, all right, we're starting a branch in Georgia?
I think it'd be something like that, yeah. Hopefully by then I would already have my office space. I would already have my admin person who is hopefully staying here permanently. So it'd be a little bit easier to kind of tie things up. And I think as soon as I got there, knowing me, I'd immediately want to start something there as well. I don't think I could just sit there and just, look at all these potential clients and not have anything going. So I definitely would probably immediately jump into that, and knowing me, I would just maintain both. So
That's so cool. You have so much potential too with your lifestyle, with your husband, with the
Yes.
military. You have so much potential to just have little Cedar and Sage cleaning
Yes,
locations all
that's
over the
the goal.
U.S., which is
Yeah.
huge.
yep, that's
I love
definitely
the
the goal.
name.
Possibilities.
I love the name of your business. What
Thank you.
made you? How did you come up with that? I always love to ask people that question. I know it's weird.
Yeah, no, my name, and if you've taken a look at my page, just the general aesthetic of it was definitely to appeal to moms, particularly moms that like, a more natural vibe. By myself, I'm a very natural mom. I breastfeed, all those things. And I know that's very appealing. I feel like I definitely structured my marketing around the pretty aesthetics, and it's worked well for me. So it's definitely worked well for me.
I love
But there's
that.
no necessarily like meaning into the name besides other than that I like it. And we do have some cedar scented things, but it's really just to kind of appeal to that market.
It definitely does too. Like when I hear that, I'm thinking like kind of a little more on the eco-friendly side.
Yes, definitely. Which is
you know,
where
and things
we
like
tend
that.
to lean. So
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I think of. You know what? I get literally our business name. I was like, Laura, Chores and More. And she was like, cool, great, let's do it. It was so like, there was like absolutely no thought. It just popped into my head one day and we just went with it and like rolled with it.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
It's very
Thank you.
catchy. It's very catchy. I feel like I wouldn't forget it anytime soon. So
Oh, good.
Okay. I like that.
What did our mentor say? What did Debbie say,
Oh,
Laura?
she said it's a very franchisable name.
She's from Texas.
Yes.
yeah, I
She goes,
definitely
very
hear that.
franchisable.
Yeah.
That's very, yeah, that's cool though. I like that. I always love to ask how people came up with their names, but I could definitely tell like what you're aiming to, the message you're aiming to portray is definitely happening through that name. So that's very cool.
Perfect. Good. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we had
I
to
thought the
go.
same thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go first.
We had to
You
go
first.
more. We were always like natural. Definitely not. I think less natural cleaning products tend to be a lot more efficient, but I was developing severe allergies. So, like rashes, hives, I was getting bloody noses, and I wasn't using anything
Wow.
necessarily that harsh or like out of the normal. But it was just killing me. So we definitely had
That's
to go
crazy.
like more natural, and granted it takes more time, but technique is everything. So
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. So this is my question about your age. So
Yes.
do you ever get clients who are weirded out or like maybe confused or like have any kind of reaction to your age, whether it's when they speak to you or like when you're cleaning and maybe they find out you're the owner and do you ever have
Yes.
that? Does that happen?
Yes, quite a few occasions. When I have braces, I look a lot younger than even 20. I'm 5 foot tall. I'm very a petite person. So
Wow.
I look
I
very,
would be
very
like,
young.
who is this 13-year-old cleaning my house right now?
Yes. And then I do have cleaners that are quite a bit older than me. So I've had a couple occasions where I'm on site cleaning with them and they think they're the boss. They're asking them all their questions and they're coming up to me like, what do I say? Like, I don't like, I really don't know what to say right now. Or just clients who I feel like definitely, I mean, not any clients that I have now currently, but past clients that definitely didn't seem like they had a lot of respect for me because of my age. And I've run into that issue with previous cleaners as well. Just feeling like they don't respect me because of my age. So, yes,
For
it's a very valid
I'm
question.
sure you deal with that a lot.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I imagine like when you first walk in, they're probably like and people will always have something to say about something. I mean,
Yeah.
age is one of the things that you deal with. I remember back in the day, we had a client who was so weirded out when I told her I had a college degree.
Yeah.
She was like, "You have a college degree?" And I was like, "Are you just gonna always find something to be rude about?"
Yeah.
So it happens, and it's really all of our jobs to try to end that stigma and not tolerate the disrespect from people, whether
Yeah.
it's about the fact that you clean or your age or the fact that you do both. But that's, yeah, I definitely feel like I would be confused. Do you do an in-person estimate or do you do your sales over the phone?
I do not. I actually have an in-person walkthrough today because a client specifically requested that. If they specifically request it, I assume that there's probably a good reason and that I probably should go see it in person. But typically I do an estimate over the phone, which has led me into some situations, as I'm sure you can imagine. But for the most part, no. El Paso is absolutely massive. It's split into sections. So there's the west side. I'm all the way on the far east. So yeah, it would just be impossible. There's not enough hours in the day to go out and give an estimate to every single person in person. So
For sure. We get that too. We do our sales on the phone as well.
yeah.
So I'm sure there's even a little bit more of a surprise though when
Yes.
you're doing your estimate on the
Yes.
phone and then you show up to clean and you're like, "Hey, I'm Tiny and I'm the owner."
Yes, I'm definitely very like articulate when I speak to clients, and I know how to carry myself, and I do sound very professional over the phone. So then I show up with braces and a bunch of tattoos, and they're like, "Oh, hey." So I always
so
see-
confused.
Yeah, they always have like a face, and I'm just like, "I'm Gillian. I'm who you spoke to on the phone." And they're like, "Oh, okay." So
That is so funny. It must be even weirder because I always thought it was weird having employees that were older than us because we have some
Yes.
employees that are older than us, some employees that are younger. And I would imagine for you too, again, it's kind of, you kind of have to demand that respect even when you're hiring people that are so
Yes.
much older than you. Have you had any issues with your employees or do they just respect you're the boss, doesn't matter your age, I'm going to respect what you say and do?
No, I definitely have had some issues. Believe it or not, it is employees that are older than me, but it's not the employees that you would think. The employees that are in their late 30s, early 40s tend to be my best employees. Shout out Alicia, love her. And the employees that I've had issues with in the past regarding my age are the ones that are 3-4 years older than me. So you would think that you would think it'd be the other way around, but it's definitely the age thing. But they're only a few years older than me. So yeah. It's very interesting dynamic.
We also love hiring older.
Yes.
We love it.
Yes.
I'm like, the older the better.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just
at
feel
this
like
point.
I feel like older people take the job a little more seriously. Back in the day, I mean, this was before we had systems in place, but it was always younger people than us that were the nightmare, to be honest. But now I think because we have such solid systems and you know, Laura and I are very, very sweet. We're very kind. We're very lenient, but we do have a line that they can cross and they know that. So I feel like we've definitely found ways to like earn their respect and demand it. But it's still a struggle for sure with, you know, and you can't tell everything about somebody when you're first hiring them. Like there's only so much you can learn, and we do our best to vet them so thoroughly, but there's only so much you can learn. But for me, like when someone who's like a little bit older comes in, I'm like, come to mama. You got this job.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I just love it. I just love it because I know they're right, because you know they're there to work, they're there to be serious and to do what, you know, what they have to do and make their paycheck, and you know they seem loyal and stuff, you know.
I'm definitely I have a few new hires that I'm trying to go through the vetting process of right now. I posted a couple hiring ads last night, and for some reason they did really well. Lately I've been posting hiring ads and getting not a single like, not a single click, and now I have an inbox full of messages that I'm going to have to screen as soon as we get off the phone and try to schedule those phone interviews. So yeah,
it never ends, right? As a business owner,
no, my husband gets upset because I always say like work never sleeps, because I'll be on my phone a lot when I am home, and finding that like work life balance has definitely been a struggle for me, because clients message me at 9-10 o'clock at night, and you know how Facebook, it'll tell you like the client or the customer like how quickly you usually respond. Mine's like 10 minutes, I'm pretty sure, last time I checked.
So you're like trying to meet that.
And now I like, if I don't want it to go down, so I have to be in that 10-minute mark to keep it there. So I try to respond extremely quickly.
It was hard for us, but we did give up like responding after business hours, and we've set all of our stuff to have like automated messages that go out. So we still do have that instant response technically, but it's automated. So now, and after business hours, like our phone system that we use, we set it up so that it says, you know, oh, hey, we're closed. 'Cause like we were struggling a lot with that. And there came a point where me and Laura were like, we are done, like working at 10 o'clock at night. I'm exhausted. I'm stressed, you know? And so it was hard. But in the same vein, we always tell ourselves that all of these hours we're putting in now are like an investment into the future. And I'm sure you feel that too, because you don't want to be answering messages at 10 o'clock at night every, you know, for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? But I think that eventually you have to kind of draw that boundary. Is that something you plan on doing anytime soon? Like
I try. Everybody tells me I need to. I really try. But it's really hard. I'm like kind of a people pleaser. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a lot of a people pleaser, and it's really hard for me to draw that line. And I don't want to miss a sale. I want to be, if there's a problem, I want to respond to the client immediately and resolve that. So I'm like, what if I do shut my phone off at business hours? What if, you know, there's something that could have been avoided or a sale that could have been made? So it's really hard for me to kind of give that up.
Yeah. It's a mindset shift, because I used to be the same way. And at the end of the day, you kind of have to just tell yourself and prioritize what's most important in this moment. If you're in a busy season and you're like, right now, the most important thing to me is growing and scaling and getting every single sale, then I say go for it. Answer after hours. But if you're in a season where you're like, I really just need to prioritize rest, I need to focus on when I'm home, being with my family, then that call or text can wait till tomorrow. And it's really, we had to shift our mindset so much. And I remember we were on a coaching call with our mentor, and I said something about, I'm afraid that if I don't pick up the sale, the sales call, they're going to go to another company. And she said, that might happen. So what? It
Yeah.
is what it is. So you just kind of have to switch that mind shift. But if right now, if you're like, hey, no, I want to take every single call and that's what I want to do, I say more power to you and go for it.
Yeah, I feel like
But
I'm
don't be
definitely stuck
afraid.
between the two.
Yeah. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid to set that boundary, though, for sure.
It's
Yeah.
hard. It's definitely hard. And I feel like I'm stuck between like I need to grow and I'm very motivated to grow and it's a very busy season for me. I get messages day in and day out, but I'm also at the same time I'm burnt out. I'm tired. I've noticed behavioral changes in my daughter because she's not with me all the time. My assistant
Aw.
spends more time with her than I do, so it is hard for me in that aspect. But it's like I'm at my I don't want to say my peak because I hope that there's better from here, but I feel like I'm at like a peak in my career, so I don't want to slow down, but I definitely need to.
Yeah, I feel that.
It
I
can be
really
hard.
do. I really do.
Yeah.
You're speaking my language because I get it. I feel like we're just like really like we want to grow so bad and get to this certain point, and you know we have this revenue goal that we have, and you know we want to get there, but at the same time I am so tired, Laura, so tired, and it's like
Yeah.
well, what do we have
Yeah.
to do to get there? Like at what cost? You know what I mean? At what cost?
Yes.
And so it's like a cost to my freaking sanity at this point.
Yeah. Yes,
So it's
definitely.
it gets hard, but I definitely see like amazing things for your future. I think, you know, you're getting into it so young, which is like awesome, like so awesome. And I think you're going to inspire so many listeners who are reading this, we don't read, who are listening to this. I'll be okay.
We don't read. It's because she's burnt out. That's why.
I'm so burnt out. This is why. But yeah,
Me
no,
too.
but
Me
so
too.
many people who. I'm crazy. Every time I jump on we always do our recordings later in the day, and this is the point where my brain is just done. Like I'm like so fried, so that's why I sound ridiculous in every podcast that we do. But yeah, I think that you're gonna inspire so many listeners, and you've, you know, really just said so many amazing things today. So I want to kind of wrap this up and bring it home. So I feel like this is a very broad question, but I'm going to ask it. From your perspective, being so young, like what is the most important thing, like lesson you've learned since starting your business? Like if you could tell yourself maybe one thing to, you know, when you started that you've learned since then, like what would that thing be?
Definitely, with me being a people pleaser, is just to not take everything so personally. Not to take every client complaint and every problem that may arise, every weird look, so personally, and just take it as a tool to grow from and to expand and to count it as like a blessing, because, you know, count every client complaint as a blessing. Like that's room for you to grow. That's something that you can improve on, and not spend every waking hour obsessing over one little comment and one little, you know, complaint every single day. I think that would have been beneficial to me from the beginning for sure.
Oh, sis, amen. Same.
Yeah.
I still struggle with this. I've gotten better with it. It's also been easier since we stopped cleaning, but ooh,
Yeah.
I'd be crying sometimes over something
yeah.
someone says. I tell you, like there have been
It's
many
hard.
nights where it's so hard, and especially for a younger crowd who's looking to start businesses, no matter what industry, you know, you're looking to go into. People are going to be like, they're not going to always be nice. People are going to complain. People are going to be unhappy and dissatisfied. Like it happens, and it happens in every industry, and it's so important to like separate yourself from that. And we call them in our business, we call them gifts. You know, we say, oh, like this is a gift. And even when we put the complaint in our like notes, like in our CRM, like for the text to read, there's like, we use the little gift emojis, you know, we say like, you know, you received this gift. It's a learning lesson. It's a lesson for us to improve and get better. And like, you know, cause there's so many aspects to cleaning a house. Like there's so many like pieces to the puzzle, and it's a lot, and we tend to forget. So it's definitely a gift. And it's important to just not take it personally. And
Yes.
I get it. I have people pleasing tendencies too. I've gotten better with them, but I struggle a lot. And I'm just someone with anxiety. So like Laura knows, like if someone texts, sure, just the word
Yeah.
sure.
Oh my gosh, we always argue about
I have
this.
severe anxiety about it. The K.
He
Just
says
K.
Or okay.
Holly reads it as
even just okay. Forget
Yeah.
it.
Holly literally is always like, they said sure. And I'm like, no, they said sure.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, they put a period. It means sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or sure,
We
whatever.
like have to level each other out. Like, I feel like that is what I love too about having a partner, because, which I'm sure you struggle with this since you are. I know you have your assistant, you have your field manager, which is so helpful for you to bounce things off of. But you need a support system, because if I'm having anxiety about something, Holly will be the level-headed one. If she's having anxiety about something, I'll be the level-headed one. So you need that kind of back and forth to balance each other out.
Yes.
So that when somebody does say sure, you don't stay up all night obsessing over it.
Well,
Yeah,
I
you need a
still
yin to
will,
your
but-
yang. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
definitely my assistant, Gianna, for me. We have talked about her being more than an assistant and coming into the business. She's about to have a baby, so we don't really know what that looks like yet. But that's definitely my person for that. And my husband as well, but he gets so tired of it because I'm like, wait, read this. How would you read this message? What was the tone? He's like, I don't know. Like,
What's the tone? Forget it.
yeah. And he doesn't
Men
oh,
are
don't
an
worry about
entirely
it.
different
Don't worry
speed.
about
Yeah.
it. And I'm like, no, I have to worry about it. Like, this is my baby. You don't want, at the end of the day, when cleaning techs make a mistake, it doesn't necessarily look bad on them. It looks bad on you. So it is a lot of stress, and
Yeah.
I do have severe anxiety. So
For sure. I get that. It gets better. And once you continue to build and start delegating some things out, like there's going to be a point where you're not even dealing with customer complaints yourself anymore.
yeah.
And we still deal with them as well, but we look forward to the day where it won't be the case anymore. So it's all an investment, and, it'll be a lot less stressful, but you're just paying your dues now, as we all are,
Yeah.
But this was just fantastic. This was a great conversation. I would love for you, before we hop off, just to kind of tell everybody where they can find you online, like where they can follow you.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to have to look up my exact name real quick, because I know it's I know it's Cedar and Sage, but just bear with me here.
Oh, you're fine. I'm always saying the name of our email address wrong.
The amount of times Laura has messed up our handle. She's like, follow us at Hustled Up. I'm like, it's Hustled Up Podcast, girl. You're getting this wrong.
It's actually Cedar and Sage Cleaning Co. All lowercase, just exactly like that. I guess I got lucky with getting that handle. And it's the and spelled out. It's not like the symbol, so it's just Cedar and Sage Cleaning Co.
Awesome.
And that's the same for both Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
For my actual handle, it's just Gillian Hopkins, GillianHopkins. And my account is public, so if you look me up, it should come up like that.
Awesome. And make sure you send me all of those links so I can link them to
Yes, I
this
will.
video as well. So everything will be linked. So make sure you go follow Gillian. She has a lot of insight to offer. And I just know you are on the cusp of incredible things at such a young
Thank you.
age in your career. So I'm very excited to see what you do with it. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you
was
guys
super
so much
fun.
for
I
having
hope you had
me.
a great time.
I did. Thank you.
Oh, good. Awesome. And I'm sure this won't be the last we hear from you. I would love to have an update
Yes,
down
of
the
course.
line, have you back on so we can see how much you've grown, because it's truly incredible how much you've grown so far. I would love to see where you're at a year from now, because
Yes.
you're just going to blow my mind again, I'm sure.
Yes, thank you so much. And I would love to come back, so just let me know.
Awesome. Thanks, Jillian.
Of course. Thank you.